So, hello everyone, this is OK here. Um, we are covering a round 2 Crazyhouse World Championship match between dushezzz, possibly, not quite sure where he's from, but he's got the Estonian flag, and LeProfessionnel from France. Just because we missed the first few moves, we can rewind and play through it. And dushezzz grabs the center, and he's hitting f7. LeProfessionnel covers. LeProfessionnel is well known as a hyper bullet player in Crazyhouse. So white clearly has good central control, and now is looking to. Seems like he's looking to. I mean, there is no reason not to move the knight, but this pawn on e5 is very strong. So he's willing to give up the knight for that pawn, it seems, and that's what happens. And we're up to the live position. So what can we say about this position? I guess white had central control, which he's now exchanged for a material advantage, while for a material advantage and also for creating a weakness on g7. So TCF name says, who's better? I don't understand Crazyhouse, which is a good question. So you see there's an imbalance, but white is probably better in having created a weakness and in having a material advantage.
Yeah, is that the direct knight sack variation?
Hi there, Duvid. You're very quiet, by the way. If you could turn up your volume on Discord. I've turned you up to 200%.
Okay, yeah, I plug in a microphone if you can't hear me.
I can hear you fine. It's just the stream probably can't. That's the only problem.
Are you live on Twitch now?
Yes, I'm streaming it on LeProfessionnel. Yes.
I was just saying, usually the knight sack you take back with the e-pawn, so you have a slightly different variation, and the purpose of the knight sack is to make the black king extremely safe.
Yes.
And then castle behind it. So, I mean, the black king is still relatively pretty safe with that bishop on h6.
Yeah, it's providing cover of g7. Yep. Interestingly, who was saying this? Someone is saying white should have played at g7 by now. If he had, did he have a moment when he might have done that? Takes, back off, takes. Didn't really have a chance.
Like this could be like a horde type position. I mean, he made that move, but where white could have kind of just stalled and tried to zugzwang the opponent and see like what.
So by the way, David, if you go to settings on Discord and sound, there is a setting to increase your volume. Okay, so what's happened here is bishop has been exchanged for rook, but white has a lot of material in hand and black doesn't. So there's a case for white could even. Okay, so at g7, rook g8, but now what's he going to do about the queen? I mean, there's no reason to be aggressive as white, but okay, there he goes, aggressive. Fair enough. You really don't want to leave that rook on your back rank, but the problem is if you take it, this one's promoting. So, so yeah, as people are saying in the chat, this is 1-0 for white. Only question is what's the finish? Probably, Yeah. Remember the queen on b8 isn't even a queen if black takes out time to take it. He does. It's very hard to defend. Bishop at f8 is a mate threat. So dushezzz, yeah, certainly looks like he's going to take game 1. You could even just go knight. You've only got one knight. Maybe that's not such. Well, you could go knight at f5 and pick up the queen, for example. Knight at f5 is nice. Knight at f5 takes. No, it doesn't work. Oops, the queen covers. Oops, oops, oops. Yeah, okay, this is much better. He has to take the rook just to get some material, surely. Well, because otherwise rook. Yeah, this is not going to turn out well. But having said that, taking the rook was also losing, because you take the rook, you just put a queen on the square. Okay, so he resigns. Black finally resigns. So, hi there, Clearcast. Knight f5 works. Did it? Oops, I didn't mean to open a new window. This is weird. It logged me out. Let's open it in a new tab. It's opening in an incognito window. And Clearcast says rook at e8 and rook d8 wins. So in this position, yeah, I was thinking this, but I was worried the queen would knight f5, e takes f5, knight takes f5. Oh yes, okay, that's very nice. Queen takes, and now you have 2 rooks to mate. Oh yes, very nice, yes. Rook at e8, maybe he tries to run here, but then you keep him in a box if you can. Oh, this is check, and so now you're taking here and then here, or the line we discussed of this and then this. So the king is in a box. Yeah, very nice point from Clearcast. Okay, so now we're in game 2. dushezzz is black. Hi there, Gingerbread Man ZH, and hi Katask. So dushezzz is going for a French defense, and he's managed to get his knight to e4, and he's putting pressure on c3. So okay, and bishop at g5 is interesting. So it's trying to deflect the bishop to bring out the queen, and then c3 would be weak, and maybe the queen would have ideas on g2. So white goes for a counterattack, and black defends. Rook g8. And now black has a choice. Do we grab the bishop, or do we grab the pawn, or do we try and do something else? And he grabs the bishop. I think because if you grab the pawn, you're giving white some counterplay, I imagine. And where does this bishop belong? The problem is if you just put the bishop back on h6, then bishop at g4 is annoying. So bishop at g4 is the threat. Bishop at g5 rather is the threat from white, and white does indeed just play it anyway. Bishop at g5. Okay, so we could see this, and in these sorts of situations, if you do go for this sort of line, you have to ask yourself whose attack is faster. And this actually looks fairly promising, because you'd be taking the queen with check. So probably queen takes bishop, knight takes, bishop takes queen would have been one idea, because queen e2 is covered by the knight. So that would have been a possibility, but he wants to preserve the threat. I don't know. Okay, I guess this is a strong threat because he's winning a whole rook. So maybe it's not such a bad idea, and white gets safe. And someone in chat says, I thought 11e3 was good. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. This sort of idea. Okay, I liked what he's got. I mean, he's picked up a lot of material. Oh man, and he's also just swindled the queen as well. And why can't he take the queen? He doesn't take the queen. Why not? Is there some trick I'm missing? Yes, there is. Knight at f6. He was very concerned about knight at f6. And opposite in disguise says maybe challenge d5, queen d7, and attack d5 in some way for knight at f6. Maybe challenge d5, queen d7, and attack d5. I'm not sure exactly what that means. But so knight f6. So if he had taken the queen, knight at f6, I guess what he was worried is knight takes queen was coming with check. And okay, so he defends, and white manages to save his queen, and then he grabs the pawn. Knight takes d4, and his eye is now on f3 and beginning an attack here. Queen takes pawn, and the queen is eyeing h7. And Opera in Disguise says if we go a little bit earlier, c4 instead of giving the rook. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. c4, getting a knight for knight at f6. Yes, I see. I see now what you mean by challenging d5. Okay, I was in the wrong position. So c4, if you grab the rook, I'm taking the knight, and knight at f6 is really nasty. So it's a way of not losing the material. Okay, good spot. But he gets the rook, but he sacks the knight, which maybe was regrettable, because then he had to defend. But he's got a good back rank attack. He could have even just gone rook at d1 there, maybe. Opera in Disguise says, looking very good for white. Black got so much on the 8th rank for knight e2. So, yeah, this is dangerous. So black had to defend, and white's attacking. Rook takes bishop, queen takes pawn. So it's looking nasty. Rook takes knight, queen takes rook, defends, and then captures the rook. Okay, so we're up to the live position, and black only has a knight in hand and a very weak back rank. And the problem is if he just promotes, queen takes bishop is mating. So let's just calculate it. Queen takes bishop, king takes, knight at h7. Is it mating? Yes, it is. He's got two rooks. So king here, rook at f8, king takes knight, and rook at h8 is checkmate, because the pawn guards g6. So LeProf is going to find this. And indeed, that's what happened. So one game all. Both games going to white. And Clearcast says, actually, there's another way of playing it, which is that after king knight at h7, how do you do rook at h8 first? You have two rooks, yeah. Can't see how to do rook at h8 first. Yeah. Okay, so LeProf I played in the 2019 1+0 World Championship, and in my experience, he does play quite passive setups, especially as white. Because as white, you have an opportunity to play first and control the center, but he doesn't really do that, from what I remember. He's quite happy to have sort of just passive setups and try and build slowly. A lot of the time with g6, g3, fianchetto, etc. I mean, there's a tempting sack here on e6. It's 2 pawns for a piece. The question is which piece. Probably sacking the bishop makes some sense. Or is it sacking the knight? Not sure. Queen e7. So the point is, if queen e7, there was knight c7 picking up the rook. This is a kind of dilemma. So the knight is actually quite stable there, and it can always pick up the bishop if it wants to. What he's trying to do is just deflect the queen from c7. And basically he can. If he really wants to, he can. So the black king is going to be destabilized, and you're going to be picking up a rook. But on the other hand, maybe black has some threats on c3. Hi there, Chuck Moulton. Oppa says bishop takes e6. Yes, and dushezzz agreed. So why not knight takes first? I guess the bishop isn't threatening on e6 in the same way that the knight was. Okay, so LeProf gives up the queen, which is debatable, but okay. Because now pawn at c7. So in this position, c7 is a weakness because black has played c6. So if you just go all the way back, this c6 move is not advisable to push the c pawn in Crazyhouse until you're really sort of settled. And it is quite incredible how this knight has come on a journey to target this weak square. That's the one thing to be aware of in Crazyhouse, is weak squares in the opening. Oh, you can just pick up the bishop if you want to. That's why I think at c7 first, but maybe there was nothing there. Yeah. So he just exchanges off. In the meantime, what's the weak square in white's position? I would say there's a slight... Well, there was always a potential weakness on e3. Although it's all very nicely defended at the moment by the bishop. That is a potential entry point. There's not going to be any time for this, though, because white, as I said, it's just going to be c7 again. He's very smartly realized in this position, I have diagonals in hand, and I can just lay pieces along the dark squares, and every time black takes, it's actually advancing my pawns further into black's position. Ooh, so if knight takes e5, it was taking here, and it's a fork. If takes here, it's just still a fork. So fairly nasty stuff. Oppa says now you have the bishop, time to attack the dark squares, exactly. e5 now, and that's exactly what he played. So dushezzz comfortably takes a 2-1 lead, and let's see if LeProf does live up to the passive setup. No, he doesn't. So LeProf has actually changed his style a little bit. This is good. He is learning. I think in 3+2 you can't be passive as white. You have to try and grab the center. So what are the choices? So the question is, if the knight ever takes the knight, you'd probably want to take with the b pawn to stop destabilizing your king. Which is annoying because you want to also open up your bishop to h6, so slight double edge. Now, after knight takes knight, you probably would go pawn takes. So what's this idea of this? Is I guess you really want the knight. Yeah, I don't really understand. Why can't you take this? Ah, I see. So if you took it, yes, okay, now I see why you can't take it. Okay, so if you took it, takes, and knight at f3 was actually the idea. Just feels like there's something that could have been done. No, maybe that was a reasonable move. Okay, so takes, and moves the knight. Yeah, Gingerbread Man says, why at h3? And I think this at h3 was a threat of knight takes, queen takes, knight at f3. I think that's... and if knight takes knight, maybe he was even willing to open up the d file. King takes, this sort of thing. Or maybe not, maybe just this. And if ever this. I'm not sure. But white goes straight for a counterattack. Yeah, Oppa says at h3 a rare move in that position. But it's interesting, it's in Crazyhouse, often players just sort of, they go on their own attacks and completely ignore what the opponent's doing. So like like, so he goes out h3, and the opponent goes, yeah, just ignore that, I'm going to attack you back, and he takes his knight, and yeah, he's trying to look at, you know, g7 and stuff, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to defend g7, I'm going to, well, it is defending g7, but I'm going to attack you back. So it's the play of attack and counterattack that's going on here. Seems like white's okay. I mean, well, white has at least forced a piece sack. Probably just knight at e3 is fine. It's not so fine, because bishop takes, knight at... Oh no, the queen covers, yeah. It seems okay. So Up in the Disguise says, since bishop b4, for whom? Bishop b4, b4, okay, bishop b4. Well, white has got a piece for a pawn, but at the cost of an unstable king. So taking on g2, I'm sure this is not a problem, because you're giving the king the f1 square to run back to. So okay, so white gives back the piece to get a counterattack. But yeah, that's their development issues. So we imagine king f8, but oh wow. So that seems like a bad idea, because this is just a simple... There can't be... Black doesn't have mate. On king f1 is totally safe, and at e7 is now mating. But Stephanie says the queen sack is forced. I didn't think it was forced. Yeah, this is dead because... Okay, so it's not completely dead. So it's a case of we have to dislodge that knight and get our queen on e8. Very nice move. Very, very nice move. Threatening knight takes c7, knight takes, and then queen at e8. So how do you defend? You have a choice. You either defend e8 or you defend f7, or you counterattack. That's also a possibility. That's actually quite a nice move. So king f1 comes, and then you clear away the attacker, but then still there's another threat on this knight, so white doesn't mind. Could even go queen takes if you're being... No, pawn takes is the strongest. So he's going to take, and let's try and dislodge this knight from e6. Yeah, Gingerbread Man again says, what was the worry with the sidestep? Okay, well, we'll look at it. I don't see any worry with the sidestep. He went for... interesting. It's sort of annoying, because you can't take the queen, but the threat is... Yeah, queen here is... queen here is surely good. Queen here is surely good. I mean, knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes... I'm sure queen at f8 was mate there. But has he found something else? What? What? Oh man, this is panic. This is pure panic. 5 seconds against 4 seconds. obviously white is just hunting. This is you can't pre-move everything. You have time to think. This is ridiculous. It's awesome. You can't pre-move flag your opponent. Okay, he's got him. Oh, what? Rook e8 was mate. So he gives himself a square to run to. Okay. This is ridiculous, but okay. Knight takes! Okay, actually, pawn takes. That's no good at all. Okay, he's found them. So LeProf has found the mate, which is absolutely justified. This is... and now they both think it's bullet, and they're playing at a furious pace. And so, yeah, Oppa's also pointing out there was a mate in that position. So first of all, the queen sack, I'll just show on the screen. Yeah, king f8 was... so king f8 was a problem because of at h6. So it's just very awkward. Knight e6, and at g7 takes, king takes. So it's just quite exhausting. It's not all over, but apparently knight takes d7 is an idea. Bishop takes, queen takes d7, queen takes, bishop at h6, king g8, knight. Yeah, so you can't take back that queen, but then this just makes it a very hard position to play. Maybe it says at d3 is an idea. But yeah, white, basically you're just throwing in checks, you can't do anything. So it's this position, yeah, so that's why you couldn't sidestep. But exactly the correct move if you takes back, and at e7 made a lot of sense. Knight e6 was forced, knight d5 was a really nice move, knight f4 was a nice response, takes back, probably pawn takes back was stronger, because then you just have to defend the knight somehow, and there's just no square which you can defend the knight with. And then just quickly winding forward to obviously this position, queen takes c5 was a really nice move, because if you do queen takes e6, well, maybe that was also possible. So again, because the idea is you've got a queen in hand for this square, pawn takes queen doesn't work because of queen d8, king f7, and you have a knight in hand for mate, and h6, okay? But he went for queen takes bishop, which is a really nice move because you have this idea as well. Queen at f8, and if you take with the rook, then, oh yeah, knight at g7 is a nice move. Distracting the knight, and then this is checkmate. I was thinking something more long-winded, I think. No, I think that's perfect, yeah. And you can play it in a different order as well. Knight g7 first, and then rook at f8, in either order. But instead, this turned into something crazy, but white was always in control. There was never a chance for a comeback in this position. Black just simply had nothing, and obviously missed mate straight away with queen at e8, but found mate soon after. Okay, so into game 5. And because of that last game, I think the adrenaline, both players are full of adrenaline, and LeProfessionnel has played far too quickly. That's a bad piece hang. It's really, yeah, spoilt this game for black. It's just a free piece, no compensation, and that's all just comes from just playing too quickly. And so this game is just all over, basically. Nice, he wants queen at f8, black defends. And what's the idea? Seems like a very chessy move, queen d4. Wanting a central queen. So opposite queen e8, king takes e8, knight f6 mate. but I can't remember the position. But those who can remember will know what he means. So and Opera in Disguise says the mate idea is takes g7, king takes g7, e8 knight, e8, knight at f6, queen g7 mate. Yeah, I'd have to bring out the position to visualize it properly. But it's like for those who have that in their head, um, that will be clear. But I'm still sort of thinking because I can't quite visualize it. I haven't quite got the people watching my stream will know exactly what you mean, but I haven't quite got the board visualization in my head right now. Oh, in this position. Oh, in this position you're saying this. Okay, okay. I thought you were talking about the last game. Oh. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're saying I'm not seeing this. I'm not understanding. So e8, e8, not e8, e8. I'm. Is it e8 queen, e8 knight, e8 knight at f6, queen g7? I'm not quite sure which position this is, so I'm just feeling. Castle's here. Oh, the threat with queen d4 is takes g7. Oh, okay, okay, I see. So this isn't just an idle threat. This is the threat is queen takes g7. Okay, finally, I've got what I was saying. Queen takes g7. King takes is forced. Then knight at e8, which keeps the king in a box. Very nice. Yes, yes, yes. Which I completely missed. And then bishop takes, knight takes, king. Okay, bishop takes, king here, queen here, check, king takes knight. No, there's something I've said wrong. Oh, I'll have to just show it afterwards. I'm sorry, I'm being completely useless here. Okay, so black grabs a knight, but now white has a rook. Ouch. And this is going to get painful. Grabs another rook. Oh, what? Knight would be interesting. Okay, gets a queen. Knight. Okay, so white's just staying very safe, basically. And yeah, white is safe and just needs to just do something like... Okay, this is just going to be all over soon. Just putting him... White only has a pawn, so just... Okay. Pawn, queen. Okay, I'm just going to quickly open up things I wasn't seeing that game. I'm still sure there were better moves than queen d4, although queen d4 looks very chessy. Yeah, I was thinking grabbing the knight. Seems primitive. But okay, so the idea, if black does nothing, this is what the line Opera was trying to show. Queen takes, king takes. E8 is knight. Oh, E8 is knight. You don't waste... Yeah, okay. E8 is knight. If bishop takes, pawn at f6, king g8, and queen at g7. Yeah, that's a knight. So you're opening up this... You're opening up f6, for example. Yeah, okay, this is very nice. And I didn't properly see it at all, because I was thinking of stuff like bishop takes, knight takes, and then king f8, and you're in all kinds of trouble. Okay, but was there anything more concrete? No, not really. Okay, so well played by dushezzz there. F6 and Queen G7, exactly. So that's why I completely misunderstood. So with that, dushezzz gets a 3-2 lead on LeProf. And LeProf goes back into his fianchetto systems, although to be fair, he's been doing very well in the other games as white. So all games have gone to white so far, but LeProf really mixing it up in this tournament. So we have to try and see how to analyze a position like this. So obviously d5 is a potential weakness. What is this move? He doesn't want to trade. Yes. So white has a space advantage and doesn't want to trade. Okay. So black grabs a pawn and he's trying to go for d5, but black defends. So what has white missed here? Takes knight here, knight here. Yeah, was there a case for this immediately? No, because the knight was coming into c2. So yeah, it was a quite good play from black. He just kept on. Every move has purpose. This is good play from black because every move has a purpose. Every move has an attack in mind. So counterattacks the queen. There's no hope of any sack. You don't have enough pieces in hand, so it just backs off simply. Attacks the knight. So this is very good play from black. Okay, so we lose the knight, but okay, so we want some counterattack. And if the knight had moved, maybe he gets some really nice attack on the light square. So it's a really good idea, really good counterattack he gets on g4. And Oppa says maybe e4 here after knight b4. Yeah, e4. Yeah, e4. Interesting. So where's that knight going? I think that knight maybe still has squares here, but then we take here. Yeah, so it's another idea. So the idea is to weaken g4, but he crashes through on g4 nonetheless, so he gets that, and I think he's now got a really nice light square attack, which white does everything to stop. And we could have just gone for a pawn again. Takes, put another pawn on, but instead he does this, and I don't know, that felt like he could have gone again for pawn at g4. g4 ideas, white pawn at f6 later, but white plays more central. Yeah. So, yeah, black, those knights are just not very stable. Don't really have places to go. So we're likely to see some sacrifices. For example, takes and pawn here, takes and pawn here, just to try and fix the position. Okay, but we don't see that. We see a counterattack. So the question here is black is, can we ignore? So if I take the knight and you take my queen, and I take this pawn with check, do I have enough in hand with two knights, a bishop, to actually checkmate you? This is the kind of question you have to ask yourself. So Oppa says white plays more central in the e4 line. Okay, so black is saying black is going to take this on. So he reckons the squares around this king. This is protected, notice, but these two squares are not. So he reckoned that if bishop takes queen, this was enough probably to mate. If pawn takes pawn, king takes pawn, maybe even e3. And he's probably right with this bishop opening up as well. So a very aggressive play from black, sacrificing the queen. Worst come to worst, you can always get a knight as well, so get two pieces for the queen. But maybe he can even do better and find a mating idea. But he'll probably just go for for the safety. Yeah, he just does go for safety. Oh, a nice find, a nice fork found by white. Yeah, and suddenly white's position is all rectified. So I do wonder if just going in was possible. At h3 is also a threat, so this is a difficult position. The bishop and the rook are both eyeing h3. So although white's rectified his position somewhat, oh, nice, again, a nice find, takes the rook and winning the bishop, and the bishop will cover h3. So really nice defense from LeProf. Yeah, and Oppo mentions this queen b5 idea as being a Fumitox idea. Okay, h3 comes anyway, but it doesn't seem to work. It's very, yeah, if you take this, suddenly white's the one with the attack. It's rather disappointing. So this is rather disappointing, actually, from dushezzz. Pawn e3. Or at e3. Ooh, nice idea. That was strong. And even here, very strong, yeah. Because these squares are all weak. These squares are weak. But he's focused on the light squares, and so hasn't seen it. And now with pawn at g4, he's actually blocked off the beautiful square for the knight. Yeah, pawn at e3 is so crushing. Because there are no majors defending. So pawn, knight, queen is just completely crushing. Or even pushing e3. Although it's not as crushing here as it was before. Yeah, earlier it was a lot better, as Oppa says. Well, okay, so creative move from dushezzz going knight at g5. So it's just desperately trying to break through. It's a kind of weird move that feels like an Oppa move. So the prof is just defending. It's really hard to see how to break through. You don't really want to take there because then suddenly white's the one with the initiative. Okay, maybe now's it an e3 will work, but okay. So he defends here, but f6 is still an interesting idea. And Oppa in Disguise says h takes g5, takes h3, takes h6, and I think white survives and is winning. When was h6 hanging? Oh, so he didn't take the knight, and white's grabbing another pawn. Okay, king takes. Suddenly white is actually. Suddenly white is fighting back. This is a pin. Oh, this is just hanging a piece. What? Yeah, he. Okay, so he tries to defend. Okay, this is going to be quite insane. I think takes was fine. It's how to break through here. This is like I think black should be doing okay, but how to? He has to get his pieces on the board, and it's hard to break through this white king side. Like really hard. It's really hard to play. That's the problem. Ah, that was a slight mistake. Maybe. He's opened up this square. What? He'd opened up g4. Knight at g4 was definitely something there, I'm sure. Now white just desperately wants a pawn for f7. Okay, he gets a queen, even better. But knight guards, actually. So this is stressful stuff. 4 seconds against 9 seconds. Okay, sacks, takes, and defends. So maybe the sack wasn't justified. Going for a cheap smother, rook at g1, knight at f2. Well, he still has knight at f2 though. He still has a cheap smother to come, and it comes. That was probably the most breathtaking game of the CWC so far. And Opera in Disguise says, white got this completely. Was there... Yeah, so what was the point where... I mean, probably like in this position, I'd probably just continue with at g4. But okay, bishop at h4 apparently. Bishop at h4 is also interesting apparently. And h4 is what he did, is also top move. Okay, so I was thinking at g4, and apparently that's not so good because for whatever reason. Bishop at g5. Okay, but okay, so I mean, okay, so yeah, really nice find with this queen check. But okay, so here black's doing okay, but he needs to go at f6. Okay, so when he does this and backs off, then again a really nice find from white, getting two pieces for the queen. But still, e3 ideas. Yeah, I forgot to mention the e3 ideas were really important here. With all these bishops, yeah, these sorts of positions, e3 and here, for example, because g4 is unprotected, so e3 is crushing for black. Really important idea. But then white consolidates, and in this position, yeah, white is starting to get better. And yeah, and so the rest of the game, as Oppa says, white's in complete control. I thought there was a chance here. Okay, so after this, I was thinking there's a chance. Okay, there's no knight in hand. Okay. I thought black had a knight in hand, but apparently no knight in hand. So okay, that was my mistake. So white's just in control. Oh, there's a mate. Oh, yeah, that's the mate that happened in the game. Which is really unnecessary, because king h1, there's no need to sack here. I mean, even just taking here was good. The white's in complete control. But black somehow managed to swindle it, and that means he takes a 4-2 lead. Slightness says f4 was just bad, right? Yes, I think so. Just opening up the king at the end of that last game. There's the move. Yeah, f4. So he goes from plus 30. It's f4. He's still okay, but yeah. So he's still okay, but he creates the weakness on f2 that eventually undoes him. And now suddenly there are counterattack ideas. Still, well done to dushezzz finding the mate in time pressure. But yeah, f4 just created the weakness on f2, which allowed black's pieces in. Okay, so this is game 7. And LeProf really mixing it up, trying to play the Sicilian. As if, okay, that's sort of a weird thing to do when you're kind of in a must-win situation, but okay. Definitely creative. But, you know, weaknesses on c7 are not good. But, okay. You see, this is LeProf setup. Like, you can't break through. So you have to be quite patient. And Opera in Disguise says f4 helped black through takes e4. Takes e4, and yeah, that diagonal opened. Okay, so what do we think of this position? Okay, so black really doesn't have any weaknesses, but is down a piece for a pawn. And white has a very classical setup. The bishop on a3 doesn't really, feels a bit like it's out of the game. Doesn't really feel like it's doing anything at the moment. So I think one of the problems for white is, while things are peaceful, to try and get that bishop into action. So crazy though it sounds, I'm thinking, well, maybe even a move like bishop c5 while things are still peaceful, to just get a chance to reroute that bishop into the action. But okay, maybe that's too slow. Okay, so he's going for d6, f6, some kind of dark square weaknesses, but these are incredibly well defended. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders potentially. But maybe it's just claiming this square. You're putting your piece on e5 is just putting your stake in black's half of the board. After all, it's defended twice and only attacked twice, so you're laying claim to this square. But okay, so maybe the bishop here will have some ideas eventually on e7. Interesting idea. So you create a5 creates a weakness on b6, but it means black is always threatening b4 at b4. I mean at b4, but then yeah, that doesn't really work because you're getting 2 pawns for the piece. Okay, so the bishop at least has come alive from that maneuver. And yeah, there's a little bit of... Seems the key black piece is actually the knight on f5, which is rather defending everything. But the bishop couldn't really go to g4 because otherwise... Well, it could have done, but knight takes bishop was maybe a problem. No, maybe it was fine. Bishop g4, knight... Maybe there was some tactics with the knight going somewhere with tempo. Knight takes bishop, bishop takes bishop. Yeah, so knight takes f6. So things have... Yeah, the knight is defending for now, but white gets knight takes f6, and actually this is almost losing actually, because at g7. At g7 captures the queen. This is lethal because white still has no weaknesses, and f6 is just a disaster. So really well played game from white actually, and the bishop on a3 was a nice piece after all because it keeps the king in the box. In fact, it's the mating piece, isn't it? Almost. So what's the finish? Okay, he's piling up on f6. Knight takes f6. If knight takes knight, queen takes rook. Maybe. Or maybe knight takes f6 first, and then queen takes rook. So we're now threatening mate. Okay, so is there a mate here? King. Oh, king had to go. Yeah, it was mate either way. Rook h7 was mate either way. Okay, so dushezzz has taken 3 in a row, and things are looking very much in his favour. So we see a repeat of this line with a very early at h3 and the prof going for a counterattack. I imagine we're going to see a repeat. Vumitox says, draw please. So what's the drawing technique here? So before we saw knight g4, and now dushezzz decides to go for knight h5. So where's that knight going? Pawn takes pawn. When he could take the knight, he could take the pawn. Probably taking the pawn is wise. Yeah, opponent's not queening. Okay, LeProf just going for bishop takes knight, so imagine. Oh yeah, queen takes g5, that's true. Bishop takes knight anyway though, wins a piece, doesn't it? Bishop takes knight, queen takes, you win this knight. No, bishop takes knight, queen takes knight, queen takes queen, king takes. Maybe, I'm not sure. So lots of people are challenging me in standard chess or anti-chess or all kinds of things. I'm doing commentary, guys. This is a Crazyhouse World Championship match. Okay, we're of course... Oh, I was going to say we're going to get knight at g2 and takes here, but okay. That's not going to happen at all. It's looking very unstable for black, but maybe it's fine. There doesn't seem to be a genuine connection between the pieces. But the problem was he couldn't take because you are picking up a knight with check. And that looks risky, although I can't see a mate. It looks... Well, certainly, yeah, black would be getting a lot of initiative. Black is still getting a knight here, though. That's dangerous because knight at f1 is one idea. There are other ideas. Ah, okay. So bishop takes knight, pawn takes, knight at f1, probably king f1, so it's not so clear. Black, and then this knight is always threatening c7, so it's not so clear. So Fumitok says offering a draw is a good drawing technique. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so actually there's another idea here. Instead of knight at f1, just simply knight at d4, king here. I'm still not seeing the anything concrete here. Stuff like at c2 is not really going to cut it. Is it not? At c2 takes queen, takes back with the rook. Feels like the bishop's defending everything. I could be wrong, but it feels okay. And then the knight would also be defending everything. So that wouldn't do at all. Just sacking the queen. Don't know. Okay, so the bishop is defending e7, but knight takes c7 and e8 being weak. Okay, maybe you can get away with it by going king d8. Okay, so this is going to come. Oppa says, I thought the same as Fumitok's here. Takes f3 maybe. I'm not quite sure what here was. Takes c7, king d8, bishop b4. Takes c7, king d8, bishop b4, defend e7. Bishop b4. Yeah. This is defending e7 for now. And so we're okay. So instead he goes for this. You could take the knight, we can just sidestep. And now what's the threat? I guess the threat is bishop at h3 and queen at e1. Takes. And so he defends that threat. But I'm not sure if he defends it well enough. It doesn't defend it well enough. This doesn't work. Queen t1 takes rook, and he has to run again. So, and then he could grab this pawn maybe. So it looks dangerous. Takes, because the point of view, oh no, actually takes rook doesn't work because rook at g1 is covered. Ah, okay. This is not clear. What did white do? Oh, this just this is terrible. It just slipped me by at the critical moment. So I felt this is still black's doing fine here, and I'm correct. Black is doing fine here. But what happened was bishop at d6, bishop here, takes, takes. My goodness. Ooh. Okay. That was painful. So what I was thinking, I was thinking queen at e1, that doesn't work. At e2, that's a nice concrete move. Knight takes e2, bishop at h3, you're forced to take it. Now what? Queen at e1, king g2. Ah, g1 is protected. How annoying. You could just grab the knight, and the queen is no longer. So those sorts of ideas might work. Is there anything more concrete? Bishop at e5. Okay, simply bishop at e5 is also strong. Queen takes g7, but now bishop... Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused. But black still has... So the point is, if queen takes g2, you get mated on e1, so you have to go king takes g2. And then, weirdly, knight e1 is strong, apparently. Queen at g2 is coming, so king g1 maybe just about defends, but you can force the trade of queens to queen g6. So yeah, black was doing fine but had to play accurately. Okay, so we're into game 9, so 2 games to play, and LeProf is in a must-win situation, and seems check, takes the knight, takes the rook. Okay, so it seems to be playing a quite this is a good setup, I think. It's okay. I mean, black is down a lot of material, but it's okay, I think. And instead of grabbing on c5, he recognizes knight at g7 um, would pick up his bishop, so he's just continuing the attack. So Opera in Disguise says queen g3 was a good move in that last game. It was indeed, yes. Someone suggesting knight at a6. Well, there is this knight takes c2, which is vaguely annoying. So I'd be looking maybe at bishop at a4 with so it's not actually threatening anything, that's the only problem. Maybe bishop at d3, but then e4 comes, so... Yeah, the thing, knight a6 is too slow, because knight takes c2 comes first, surely. Queen takes knight, bishop takes, and you've got no time to take c7, because now you've got a mate threat to guard on d1. And Oppa says, I think white got too much material, so I would play knight at a6. So knight at a6. So knight c7, you just think sidestep. Okay, so knight at a6. So sidestep. So the idea is either rook at g8 or knight takes pawn. Okay. So rook at b8 threat as well as knight takes pawn, picking up the queen. Okay. So what actually happened here was takes back. Grabs the knight, and I'm still not seeing, like, what is... I can't see what white's threatening. Yeah, as often discussed, says takes c2 is actually not a problem, since black has no knight, and even the knight is not mate. Yeah, so white's just sacked everything. Like, so black's position was atrocious. Actually, black's position wasn't atrocious. Actually, let's give black some props here. Black's position wasn't atrocious, but this knight a6 idea is just very strong. Because black only had pawns in hand, so black just simply had no way of defending b8. So that was actually a really sneaky idea. All he can take is pawns, and with pawns you can't defend b8. So you're just getting in on the back ranks. It's actually so strong. Really didn't see it at all. But white's just basically sacked the house for some, like, to create a weakness on c6, but c6 is defended. So this is a kind of basic problem. Yeah. So black's picking up material and staying safe. Ooh, nice find. Okay, unfortunately it doesn't work. Yeah. If pawn takes, there was knight at c7, just bishop takes. And yeah, black is suddenly looking okay. His symphony payments or Hisiphone payments says 5-3, as you can see below the board. So dushezzz, who's white here, is leading 5-3. To be fair, LeProfessionnel is normally a 2400 player, so this is really a 2400 matchup. Both players are very strong players. But maybe both quite inactive as well. So we see this, takes back, bishop takes here. So what's the threat? I can't quite see the threat. I mean, queen takes rook is tempting, but I can't see anything to follow it up, and you don't want to give away the queen needlessly, so what's actually the threat? Bishop here looks pretty nasty, but the problem is this is taking your queen, so yeah, it's always a case of whose attack is faster. So let's see. So it looks like black was fighting back. I don't know, bishop takes c2. Was bishop takes c2 too slow? But I can't see what else. So bishop takes c2, takes here, queen comes back. So throws in a check, grabs another knight, takes this pawn, throws in another check. Okay, so oh, this is looking painful. White is somehow white is somehow oh yeah, white has somehow managed to stay safe. I suggest World is questioning how strong LeProf is. I mean, I think he is actually pretty strong, but obviously he plays very intuitively, and that's the way some people play. Queen here. If you come up, just queen here is the problem, and this way. Is there checkmate? King takes knight, and you're like, if this square were undefended, this would be checkmate, but it's not, and so there are chances. But how? The bishop defends everything, and so safe. The white king is so safe. Bishop takes rook, queen takes, and it's checkmate. So dushezzz takes it, 6 games to 3. And Opera in Disguise said bishop b5. So let's see if we can just visualize the position. Bishop b5, maybe this was earlier. Bishop b5 takes b5, knight d6, king d7, knight takes b5. Bishop b5. Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly when, and it's going to be hard to see. So coming back to the live position, we saw this 2 games ago, and as Giswell said, this is good games. Okay, so what happened here? he took on g2, attacks the bishop. And black had king on e8 and queen on c6. So it should just open it up. Okay, I'm not sure when this was. Oh, right back here. Queen c6. Okay, so right back here. Bishop at b5. Takes b5. Knight d6. Yeah, so it's a nice tactic that white had there. Okay. So the current game, well, we've seen the first few moves of this before. Why can't we take that queen? Oh, because knight at f6. Queen here, maybe? Or is there something stronger? There's something on g2. Or is there anything we need to worry about? Okay, so the reason this is nice as well is it actually covers queen at c6, which is a real problem, picking up our rook. So it's actually a good defensive move as well. So I quite like it, and he does play it. So apparently there's a tournament happening now, so I'm not quite sure which one it is. It's one of these quarantine Bundesliga matches which the House Discord server is taking part in. So just letting people know that variants only, GSVC, Fumitox, Finisher, Clearcast, lots of strong players taking part for the House Discord in this quarantine tournament. So I'm sure they'll be fine. Yeah, Queen f6 is white's threat, as Oppa says. So what did... He moves his rook. Yeah, that's why he can't even take the knight, because Queen f6 is too annoying. So he moves the rook. So we could just go bishop e7. It feels like bishop e7, but then at f6 is maybe an issue. That's not so pleasant. But he does do bishop e7. Okay, at f6 is coming. Do we just move the bishop away again? That'd be funny. Or is there a better idea? He just moves the bishop away again. It's a kind of cheeky thing to do. It's dangerous, because if white does get diagonals, then this is a problem. Oh, ow! What a move. That's painful, because he might have hoped for... it's just painful. So this is why this is a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, in this position, probably sack on f6, right? Oh, you're saying even sack on here, sack on here and go knight here and take the queen. Yeah, absolutely. if f6, queen takes f6. I mean, now this is just terrible because this is painful. Knight takes here is checkmate. So he's just having to just give away a whole queen. And what is this? It's just tragic. Yeah, he was safe. Black was safe. It's all over now. So, close match. I think we can safely say, just trying to deflect the queen. Queen f7 will be mate. I think we can safely say this is 1-0. Queen takes bishop is coming. Just can't see any defense at all. And there we go. There we have it. Okay, so 6 games to 4 to dushezzz. They're playing on. Can LeProf equalize? And Oppa has a nice idea from last game. It's on move 20 or move 21. Let's see. So for black, knight at e5. Here, here. So knight at e5. Yes, nice idea. Knight at e5. Knight takes f7. Knight takes f7. But then he gets the pawn he needs, apparently. It's a cool idea, but apparently he gets the pawn he needs. Takes, rook takes, and the key move is using the existing rook g8. Knight e8 is forced, and then sack the queen. So this is all very complicated. King takes, rook takes, king takes. Knight at g7. The knight is a protected piece, so we could try and run up, but he'll try and keep us down. So bishop f8 is the one move that keeps the king from running out, and then we have a back rank mate. So yeah, it was a very good defensive idea, but as Oppa said, he lost it just by not taking here directly. Knight takes f6, knight at f3, king d1, knight takes h4, and black is, I think, pretty much doing okay here. Whatever the engine says, it's actually pretty good. Pawn e2, knight takes e2 at f3 being one way of playing it. Knight f4, just go at e2 again. And if you take, queen at f3, king f1, knight g4, threatening queen takes f2, checkmate. So he has to try and run, but now we have stuff like queen at f1 threatening to promote, and there's nothing. Yeah, does white have anything? And apparently no, he doesn't. So if you try and go, like knight e6 or some crazy ideas, this doesn't work. If you go knight e6 straight away, then you have to be a little bit careful. You have to take with this pawn to prevent yourself getting mated, but there are no crazy mates. Okay, so how do you defend against this? I mean, Stockfish still reckons it can defend, but queen takes rook, queen takes queen. Yeah, this is looking, well, maybe it's a draw. Okay. Apparently white has ideas. This is crazy. Can't we just promote? King d3, I mean, so this is going way too deep, but apparently white's getting away here. Okay. Apparently there's no defense. There's no defense. Just knight g7, no blockers. Wow. Okay, that's insane. But it didn't work going here straight away, because then this is a queen, so it cuts him off. So, okay, some crazy stuff there. So dushezzz wins game 11 as white. Very quickly they play. How does he win it? Throws in the check, gets a pawn. Oh, nice checkmate. and then game 12, so they're playing on. Okay. Okay, well, I think the players play on, but I mean, I don't know. Are people still interested in continuing the series, or the match is over? If people are interested in continuing, then I'll continue to commentate. Otherwise, I'll say I'll call it a day. I mean, these are two good players. They're both 2300, 2400 players. So we're going to get a trade of queens, but the knight is guarding h7. So unclear. I think white really wants to get in on these sorts of squares. Okay, yeah, that too. g7. Kind of hard to defend, actually. You have to take because queen g8 is mate otherwise. If you take the knight, unfortunately, you're getting mated. So nice find. I mean, you can still defend with queen g7 or something. And queen takes knight, or maybe even something more. Maybe pawn at pawn h6 doesn't work, does it? Bishop, yeah, this is quite interesting. Because of this, you just take it. Probably just this is annoying. Just here. Seems to hold. And in the meantime, what's black's counterattack if he finally gets a chance? It's probably just d2 in some way. But it's nothing concrete yet. It's a more slower build-up that he needs. And knights aren't that useful. Yeah, so it's more a slower build-up along the dark squares. So he clearly wants a knight. I think that was a mistake. Yeah, I think that was definitely a mistake. Just knight takes h5 is mating here. Knight takes h5 is mating here. Nice cuts off the king. Pawn here and bishop here is checkmate. Okay, I think it's been a good series. These guys are going to keep playing on. I think that's fine. dushezzz has taken it. It's 1-1 in the bonus series. I'm not going to continue to commentate. I think unless people are urging me, no, let's continue. It's been some interesting games, so I hope you enjoyed it. Is there anyone else streaming in the meantime? So I'll keep it on these games just a couple of minutes while just seeing if there's anyone I should raid. So I Am Rosen is streaming the yearly Rapid Arena for those who like slow chess. Anna Kramling is streaming chess.com with her nice straw hat. Fiancetta is streaming Astana playing the yearly Rapid. Now that is interesting. Okay, I'm going to raid Fiancetta. And Simba is streaming the Quarantine Team Battle for those interested. But I think Astana is a very fun player to watch. So I'm glad you liked it, Gingerbread Man and Opera in Disguise. Yeah, thanks for joining in and giving all the helpful commentary to supplement what I was saying. I'm going to raid Fiancetta, who's really Astana on her account. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Opera. It's really nice. So I'm going to do that, and thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.